every once in a while something comes along that captures America's like conscious, and it seems like your family, people love your family. Now, how will you not fall into those excesses and those other things that happened before this time around? What lessons have you learned?
Well, be a little bit more.
Well, I mean, like, for instance, here we go. Like, your closet was insane. You said you spent about $300,000 a year on clothes. Mm-hmm. You seem like a different man since you've come out of jail.
You know, listen, at the end of the day, you can't go through what we've gone through and not be different. Did I need that many clothes then? No. Do I need that many now? No. Do I want some? If I want them, I'll get them. Public opinion won't change what I do. It never has.
But how will the family change now?
Well, I think that the dynamics of the family have changed because you don't go through this kind of hurt and not change. I think that and I'm only going to speak for me, I think for me that my foundation is much more firmly rooted in my faith. And I have a stronger sense of who I am today and how I want to be perceived and what I plan to do with the rest of my life.
How about everybody else?
You know, I think it's like he said, the past 2.5 years were absolutely insane. And then before that, we were, they were indicted. We went to trial. We lived all of that. So that's been our life. And when you go through that, your body, you're just trying to survive. So however you act, whatever you say, you're just trying to keep your head above water. So I think it's just it's gonna take some time. It's an adjusting period for everyone to step back and everyone to take a few minutes for themselves and figure out what each of us wants out of life, where we wanna go, what we wanna accomplish, and then try to do some healing from there.
I was watching your podcast and I was touched by you talking about Nick and the fact that you would share that with the world.
My heart has not healed, and I don't know that it ever will heal, but out of respect for the love that we have for him, I will tell you it was the hardest thing that I have ever dealt with in my life.
How hard was that moment to talk about that? And you bared your soul about what happened when you were in prison, and I was shocked.
That will always be a very sensitive thing for me. I love him today as much as I ever have. I never wanted to lose him in that way. I didn't want to lose him as far as them being together as a couple. But I still felt like that I would have the rest of my life to where he could be in and out of our lives, and that I could mentor him. I could tell him, you probably should do it this way or whatever. But I don't know that pain ever goes away. I think you just learn to live with it. And to lose someone that you love that much and not be able to put your arms around your loved ones. I knew that Savannah was grieving with that. I knew that she was hurting and there was nothing I could do to help her. And I cried myself to sleep many times, and I had a gentleman there with me who has become one of my best friends, Melvin Williams, a police officer from New Orleans. And it was told to me that he would get down on his knees every night and put his hand on my bunk and pray on his rosary because he knew how bad it was hurting. So there has been good to come from the loss of Nick, because I think that when you love someone the way we love Nick, that if you don't hurt, or rather the hurt that you express is somewhat of dedication to that relationship. I don't know how you can have someone in your life. I mean, Nick was with us every day for 5 years and was there with us when we were sentenced. He was there with us every day of the trial. And they were broken up. They were not even together, and this kid showed up every day. So that pain doesn't go away, and I don't know that I want it to, because I don't want it to, I don't want to ever get to a place to where I don't feel what I feel for him right now.
Julie, how about for you? You talked about him coming in washing dishes with you every day.
Yeah.
He was that guy.
Yeah, he was. He was a special kid. And again, as I've said before, one of your biggest fears when you go to prison is losing someone while you're there, because you can't leave, you can't be there, you know. And to have Savannah go through something like that and just not be there, and it's definitely something that's going to take time and healing for sure.
Savannah, you wrote a beautiful note. How hard was that for you to write that note?
I think, you know, there's been a lot of times during this journey that, whether it was the appeal going south, or, you know, my DC journey, going to pick them up, there's been so many times I've thought, like, Nick would be here. Just knowing him and knowing how happy he would be, it was so tough. It was such a tough journey in those 2.5 years. You know, that first year, within 6 months, I lost both my parents. I lost Nick. He and I weren't together. We had some conversations, and but we still talked. So I faced a lot of loss that first year. And it's still, there's signs that I get that I'm like, it would have been a hard day, and I would be at, you know, a restaurant, the server's name's Nick, or there's just little nods that I feel like I get from him. It's been a challenge. With my parents gone, our household is completely divided.
Savannah, how many people have to hear this, but we still don't see any action?
Oh, damn.
I told my parents, I don't know if it can ever be repaired, honestly. I'm going to continue to tell our story to anybody that'll listen and anyone that I believe can help. We're right on the cusp of a pardon.
You're keeping up with that in prison. What are you thinking while you're seeing this?
Savannah and I talked every day, and she would tell me that certain things were coming her way and whatever, and I would say, and then she would say, okay, well, this is something that I want to do. And I said, well, if you want to do it, then you do it. But I think that it's hard for any parent, especially a dad with his daughter, to not be there on a daily basis to say, what are you doing? Stop. Or, great job. You keep going. So I had to be her cheerleader from within the prison. And I was able to communicate with her, you know, when she would see me or on the telephone or what have you. And it was hard, Kevin. It's not easy. For me to sit here and tell you, oh, this wasn't hard, diminishes the other 155,000 men and women that are incarcerated in the federal system today. It's hard. But she gave me hope every day. And that's what a lot of these men and women don't have anymore. They've lost hope. The government has stripped them of that. So I was fortunate. We've been so fortunate in so many ways. We are that 1%. You know, before we were that 1% because of how much money we made. We're now that 1% because it really counts now. We're that 1% that God has shown favor on, that is outside of the prison, that's behind us. But it can't ever be truly behind you, because as long as you have your memory, you're still there, because you're still suffering with those that don't have the favor that you've been given.